Does everything happen for a reason? Yes, it does. Everything happens for a reason. Of course, now we're not going to know the reason sometimes, but the impact of a decision, it's like a ripple, right? It's a ripple effect, like in the water. And I think that the simple answer is yes. Everything happens for a reason. Now, my personal belief, that reason is to glorify God. All things go back to God. Now, what about traumatic events? I think ultimately, God uses those. He wasn't his intention for the brokenness and the sadness that happens with those tragic events. But does God use it? Absolutely. Does God have a purpose that we are unknown? Yeah, we may never know. I'm not saying I know all the reasons, but everything does happen for a reason. Alyssa and I just went through this very intense season, and it really was a test of our faith, a test of, is this truly coming from the Lord, or is this truly just like us being wild? And coming out of it now and seeing the other side, and not completely of the other side, but just seeing how that season, which can drive so many people apart and be such a dissension in marriage, and it just bolstered my wife, Alyssa, and my faith. And I am so blessed to be sitting here and her asking me these questions, because I just am so thankful. This is a little shout out to my wife. So thankful for just the amazing woman of God that she has always been and continues to be, and that she's just being shaped and formed physically, because she's working on those gains, but spiritually in maturity as a mother, as a woman in ministry, and just as a woman of God, just feeling this conviction in this next season we're at. So, does everything happen for a reason? Yes. Cat, did it? Ooh, who would I consider to be hashtag relationship goals? The first, it took me a second. First people to come to mind, and I don't even know these people, but it was an instance that I heard about, and I always thought, that is a relationship goal. Alyssa and I were married very young, and we used to tease each other, or just I'm very competitive in games and everything, and so in saying that, I don't always give Alyssa the grace or support that she needs when she wins, and said I'm a kind of a sore loser. I am. I'm sorry. But she came back from playing ultimate frisbee, and when she came back, she met these people, Rebecca, Prentice, and Chris. Tart. Yes, the Tarts. So she came back from ultimate frisbee, and she came back and talked about, what's amazing? The Tarts, even in the midst of being opposite, encouraging one another, uplifting one another in the midst of competition, even though it's a game and they're being silly, they never took a moment to jab. That was one. The second person, this is actually a second goal, is I just see this amazing dynamic of people uplifting their spouse, and no matter the context, even if it's we're goofing around, it's never an opportunity to put down the spouse. So another person, it would be the Dunkles. There's a person named John and Lisa Dunkel, and phenomenal people. But I remember just talking with Lisa for a moment, and I just kind of joked about John, and she's like, no, that's not John. No, he doesn't give me a hard time. I'm like, oh, John, he gives people a hard time. Or he's like, no, he's very gracious. And it was just she didn't even allow that joke or allow that thing to bring her husband. Even though it was super lighthearted, to her, it's that love, the depth of that love, she would not allow that speaking. It was super casual. It's oh, okay. But that is a goal that I'm never out of my mouth, or, out of my mouth is going to be something that tears down my wife. what do they say? Sarcasm is entryway to the heart, something like that. So I don't have like a celebrity, you know, if I'm thinking like celebrity goals, I don't have anybody. We're kind of living out my goals though, not gonna lie. We're kind of goal life right now. Like, we're couples goals in the sense that we can go and do hard things, and that we can challenge one another, and that we can talk freely with one another. Like, I think that's the greatest thing that I cannot express, is to be able to talk to my wife freely about anything, and even hard conversations. And that gets me, I just feel like there's an openness that I can have. And I can, even though we may not understand each other all the time, we just have that openness. So, openness, communication, yeah. Oh, the Moys, yeah.
They love each other and do marriage counseling. Like, that's my dream. Marriage counseling.
Do marriage counseling, yeah. The Moys are pretty phenomenal people. So,
that'd be a goal that I have for us, to do marriage counseling one day.
One day it would be kind of cool to do marriage counseling. I think we could do it. All right, guys. 2 Q&As in 2 days. Today is a Q&A a day by myself. But my wife is here supporting from the behind the lines, and maybe we'll do more of these. I'm digging through. Are you digging this? Like a one-on-one, we could flip around. It's kind of fun. It's like, it's kind of talking to her like nice here, but then like having her like full frontal here is kind of nice. Just kidding. All right, that's we need to close it down.